Szanowni Prezydente Zelensky,
Dear President Zelensky, dear Volodymyr, dear Head of Parliament, dear Ruslan, esteemed ministers, esteemed colleagues, respected guests, Mr. Jamilev. In the beginning, allow me to emphasize again this important legal principle and fact. Crimea is Ukraine, not Russia. It is also a powerful political message that the International Crimean Platform is going on to implement.
The summit is a clear demonstration at the highest level of our joint support for the independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders. Since its creation, International Crimea Platform has played an indispensable role in raising international attention, mobilizing necessary resources, and deepening our cooperation. I appreciate the initiative of President Zelensky to launch this Crimean platform 4 years ago, and I was very happy to have a bilateral meeting today in order to discuss Croatia's ironclad commitment and support to Ukraine. Our gathering is another opportunity to honor the outstanding bravery and heroic sacrifice of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians in saving Ukrainian statehood, nation and identity. The international community must keep in mind that the plight of Crimea started more than a decade ago, and what transpired since February 2022 was only the latest phase of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, more massive in scale and more brutal in its consequences. In particular, when it comes to the residents of Crimea, including children, Russian human rights violations and abuses are increasingly grave and widespread. We stand appalled by the numerous cases of murder, torture, enforced disappearances, abductions, arbitrary detentions, deportations, and other forms of violation of international human rights law and humanitarian law. We strongly condemn Russian attempts to deny, suppress, and erase Ukrainian identity, language, and culture, as well as the persecution and discrimination against Crimean Tatar people. All political prisoners and other civilian detainees held by Russia in the context of aggression against Ukraine must be released, including from so-called filtration camps. Those responsible for or complicit in such atrocious crimes must be held to account. Furthermore, Russia must end its illegal conscription of Crimean residents and forced passportization. And all the past and future Russian so-called elections, including the ones held just last week in the temporarily occupied Crimea, are null and void. Finally, Russia has turned the temporarily occupied Crimean Peninsula into a heavily militarized outpost. Consequently, Russia is using Crimea not only for the aggression against Ukraine, but also for undermining the security and stability of the Black Sea region as a whole. Dear friends, Croatia continues to stand with Ukraine, offering assistance in multiple ways. We have had a very active role within the International Crimean Platform, especially the first parliamentary summit that was held in Zagreb, and President of Verkhovna Rada was with us. And also, as a part of wider political and diplomatic efforts, I have the pleasure to inform you that Croatia will host next month, together with President Zelensky, the summit of Southeast European countries and Ukraine, after the same summits were already held in Athens and Tirana. Bilaterally, we have provided so far around 300 million euros of assistance, and also we have welcomed almost 30,000 Ukrainian refugees. As a country that faced armed aggression in our recent history, Croatia is uniquely positioned to assist Ukraine with our war-related expertise in areas such as humanitarian demining, veteran care, but also the prosecution of war crimes. In addition to a new military package of aid, which is currently being in pipeline, a new donation for Ukraine's energy system ahead of another difficult winter has been taken by my government. We shall, of course, as the latest member of the European Union, wholeheartedly extend our expertise when it comes to the accession negotiations and the recently started screening process of Ukrainian legislation in respect to the acquis communautaire. Ukraine is exercising its legitimate right of self-defense, aiming to protect its people, sovereignty and territorial integrity through its defensive operations and to diminish Russia's capacity to continue its war of aggression in line with international law. To fully uphold Ukraine's right of self-defense, including to deoccupy Crimea, we need to be prepared for a long-term, sustained and comprehensive support. In doing so, maintaining and consolidating our unity remains the highest priority. The Crimea Platform summits are one of the crucial elements of our joint efforts, and therefore I'm really honored to join you again today in Kyiv. Slava Ukraini!